If you have millions saved up and you're 80 years old, should you keep working? Do you need to keep working, or do you have to keep working, or do you want to keep working? Today, I want to talk about an 80-year-old that many people know, very funny man, and what he recently said. But before I bring in the 80-year-old that's funny, let me bring in my co-host, Tony. Well, welcome to the show, Tony.
Oh,
Now,
ouch.
I want to share with you a tweet from Eric Idle. Do you know who Eric Idle is?
Of course I do. From European Vacation with Chevy Chase, Eric Idle. Oh,
Yes,
wait.
that
More
he
famously,
was.
Monty Python. Yeah.
Right. He's one of the original Monty Python
Yep.
members from
Very
the
funny guy.
70s. I want to show a tweet that he just had recently that got a bit of a stir. Um, some back and forth between him and some other Monty Python members, but I want to highlight the first part here of his tweet. This is from February of 2024. Eric Idle tweeted, "I don't know why people assume we're loaded. Python is a disaster. Spamalot made a lot of money 20 years ago. I have to work for my living. Not easy at this age." Now he's 80. He's 80. So he tweeted that. And I want to get your take on it because there's a lot to unpack here in this
Yeah.
small tweet. Now there's another follow-up tweet that I want to share with you.
John
But what do you
Cleese,
think so
the
far?
John Cleese response.
No. I want to. We'll let the viewers and the listeners go and follow up with see what John Cleese wrote back,
Oh,
because I want to focus on the financials part of this.
oh. Well,
The
I want to tell him really quick what John Cleese just said. One line. Uh, he and Idol, he said, well, we've always loathed and despised each other. That's what John Cleese said.
so yes, and they went off on that for a little bit.
Yeah.
Here's the second part of Eric Idle's tweet. So right now he's saying everyone thinks we have money, but we made it years ago. I still have to work, and it's not easy at age 80, which probably not. Although
Right.
he's probably still very funny. Um, he continued and said, quote, "We own everything we ever made in Python, and I never dreamed at this age the income streams would tail off so disastrously." So, what do you think? What's your gut reaction on this statement? Because I have
Well,
some info
it's
about him that I
twofold.
want to share.
I think it's twofold. There could be a lot going on here. There's a lot to unpack. I mean, it could legitimately be mismanagement of funds by a manager, but if they made good money at one time, this is really his fault for Eric Idle's fault. As much as I love Eric Idle and all the Monty Python members, I'm a huge fan. I love the English sense of humor, especially Python. But Eric Idle probably, when he was making good money, wasn't putting money into a retirement account. He wasn't funding his retirement. And you need to start doing that when you get your first full-time job. So when you get that first big check, holy grail check, or Monty Python TV money, how much did he put into a retirement account? If he had put some in and let it grow and not touch it, and he'd put it into the stock market, man, he'd have a lot of money today.
Seriously, and that's the traditional financial advisor take. Is
Yeah.
like, this guy is complaining about not having as much income.
Yeah.
He should have saved. He made all that money. And
Well,
he's saying, well, Spamalot was 20 years ago. Spamalot was the Broadway play, right? Am I
right.
wrong about that?
The
Yeah.
Broadway musical
There's
Spamalot.
also a good
Yeah.
song from Monty Python, right? So,
Yeah.
um, but this could also all be a joke. After all, he is a comedian, and he's been a
True.
comedian since
True.
the
I don't know how they could own everything that Python ever did, the TV rights, everything, and not be making royalties off of it. You would think they would still be. But again, it could be legit. It could be mismanagement, right?
well,
So,
when's the last time you saw Monty Python and the Holy Grail on TV? Like, I don't know if you see it very often, right?
no,
It's
you
not like
don't.
Seinfeld reruns that they're getting
Yeah.
paid on.
Yeah. That's true.
I guess Faulty Towers or whatever other shows he was on. But
Well, John
here's-
Cleese was on Faulty Towers. Yeah, he probably
that's
made
right.
that I see a lot. But it's weird you don't see more like the Monty Python. I don't know why you don't see reruns of Monty Python's Flying Circus. They should be like somebody should have an exclusive. They should have licensed that to HBO or to Netflix or something. And maybe they did and I missed it, but not that I know of.
So maybe he'll do a. Someone commented to him about doing a Netflix special, and he cursed that one out really quick. But
Yeah,
so in retirement, income is much more important than your assets. I say this a
sure.
lot.
Oh yeah.
So here, real quick. Now I don't know how valid this is, but there's a website called CelebrityNetWorth.com, right? And so Eric Idle's listed on there, and they estimate his net worth to be 10 million. And below that, so right away I'm thinking, all right, 10 million to the average viewer saying, oh, give me 10 million, you won't hear me complain,
Right.
especially not at age 80. If I have 10 million at 80, I mean, how much longer am I going to live? I don't even know if a lot of my clientele could spend that much. We've done shows on how people struggle to spend their money.
Right.
Um,
Right. Yeah.
but so from that same website, Celebrity Net Worth, so I don't know if it's real or not. I
Yeah,
really
they're estimating too. That's not
they're
necessarily
estimating.
it.
This could be grossly underestimated or overestimated.
And
We
it
just
could
don't
be
know.
based on the fact that he's co-owner of these things, but if they're not monetizing them,
Hmm.
he
Well,
doesn't have 10 million in his pocket probably.
right. He made a comment on Twitter following that Terry Gilliam's daughter, I believe. Terry Gilliam was another of the Monty Python. His daughter became their manager for Monty Python, and she screwed everything up. And he said, Terry Gilliam, you have one Gilliam's enough, two is enough to destroy a career. So he was joking about it
Yeah,
potentially or not. We just don't know. And that's what makes it
sure.
interesting. But here's another quote from that Celebrity Net Worth. They said in April of 95, he bought a $1.5 million mansion in Hollywood Hills. And then in February of 2023, he sold it for $6.5 million. So that's a $5 million gain. So if he sold a house in 23 for 6.5 million, right away you say, well, there's 6.5 million. How much can you really be hurting? Do you really have to work, or are you just saying that to be sensational and funny, or do you just want to work? Because a lot of people just want to work, and there's nothing wrong with that, especially as a comedian. Why not? If you're funny at 80, why not
Sure.
keep going? It's not physically demanding anymore anyway. So the question is, well, let's just think this through. A lot of people have their primary net worth. Most of the net worth is in their home, right? So we did shows on that, tapping into the home, and a lot of people that's normal. If you think about it, just take some zeros off this. If you bought a house for 150,000 in 95, you might be able to sell it for 650,000 today, right? That's not a
Sure.
stretch,
No,
right?
it's not.
So, but what are you going to do with that? You got to go somewhere. You can
Right.
rent, and odds are where he lives, Hollywood, is probably not cheap.
No.
So he's going to sink potentially all that into a house, maybe get a loan. Um, that's the question now. So you can have a $6.5 million house, and if his total net worth is 10 million, if we just accept that, then 70% or roughly of his overall net worth is tied up in his house.
Sure.
So now all of a sudden, now you can start to see how money can get tight. Doesn't change anything. So really, does he have enough? Does he have to keep working? I don't know if we'll ever find out. But it brings me back to Monty Python and one of the quotes from the movie. Um, you remember when they were on the bridge, crossing the bridge, and the bridge
Yep.
teacher had to ask
Yep.
them 3 questions,
Yes.
and if they got them wrong, they would leave. So they asked Eric, not I don't think Eric Idle he was Sir Robin. They asked King Arthur, what is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow? And King Arthur replies, well, what do you mean, African or European swallow? And the bridge keeper's like, I don't know that. And he gets knocked off the bridge, and then they all cross. So the
I
answer
thought the
to
quote
question,
you were going to hit us with was this one.
I fart in your general direction.
Believe it or not, viewers, listeners, I have a T-shirt that says that. I literally,
Oh,
do.
that's
One of my
sad.
brothers gave it to me. Absolutely hysterical movie.
Yeah.
But if someone said to me, does he need to be working at age 80? I'm going to say, I don't know. Does he really need to, or does he want to? And then, like, is it African or European? You're not going to know, because it all comes down to his lifestyle. If he's spending 800,000 a year, then yeah, he probably doesn't have enough to live, even with 10 million net worth, right? So it's hard for us to relate to this. And I'm not going to say, this is a case where I remember in Minnesota, Latrell Sprewell, the basketball player, said, I got kids to feed, and he was upset with his, I think it was like $30 million contract for a year.
Right.
People were like rolling their eyes at that.
Yeah.
I watched, I read a few of the tweets regarding his commentary, and quite a few people were like, yeah, you're worth 10 million, buddy, cry me a river. Right.
Right.
So I'm going to think that he was being partially funny, that he also has a very probably high-end lifestyle that he's been used to since being in the limelight since the 70s,
Yeah.
being ultra famous, ultra funny, having a Broadway play, making money, but spending it. And maybe there was some mismanagement there. Maybe there's some truth to his commentary. But I think he's created this lifestyle that is difficult to sustain if you're not constantly bringing in the revenue. And if the revenue drops off from an investment you made years ago that you were getting a steady stream, this is what's happening today in 2024. People are buying CDs and fixed annuities that are paying 5 or 6%. Fast forward 3 years, and let's say the rates are down and those come due and they mature. People are going to be like, "Whoa, wait a sec! I can't live anymore. I used to get 6%. Now I can only get 2." It's like you could see how you get used to that level of income. And if it drops off for whatever reason, all of a sudden you start to say, wait a sec, maybe there's a problem here.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe it's time for Eric to downsize. And maybe that's what he did. He sold the big home, and maybe he moved into a $2 million home and has a few more million to live on right now.
Maybe, or he's just trying to drum up some publicity with some sensational commentary.
Sure.
I don't know. Either way,
Sure.
it's kind of funny. I should have called you Patsy instead of Tony, my trusty fellow Patsy.
Oh,
So,
come on.
coconuts.
Every time I try to talk to someone, it's sorry this and forgive me that, and I'm not worthy. We are the knights who say...
I love it. I'm not sure. I'm going to follow this. We maybe have to do a repeat of the show once we get some more data to truly see what's going on. Maybe we'll have an Aretha Franklin moment when he passes away, that there was 2 wills and there's nothing there, and turns out he's 10 million in debt or something crazy.
Could be.
Right? We just don't know.
Yeah.
But conclusion, Tony, income is the key to retirement. Don't worry about what others are spending. Don't worry about what they own. I'm sure who the other members, a couple of them have passed, but there are some other members that have more success theoretically, at least in America. Fish Called Wanda was Cleese, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or Terry Gilliam did a couple of movies.
Well, he produced some movies. Terry Gilliam
Yeah.
did a number of movies, Time Bandits, and he did Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, the Hunter S. Thompson
He did Brazil.
movie.
Did he do
Brazil was great.
Yeah, that was a bizarre one.
Yeah.
Loved it. But so you can't compare and say, oh, all of the Monty Python troupe were equally successful. They
Yeah.
all made their
John
own
Cleese
decisions.
is probably the primary. He really was at the forefront. He was in a lot of other things, more
Right.
so than the other members, and wrote books, did tours, had other TV shows. So I don't know, Cleese always comes, but Eric Idle was not far behind. And then Terry Gilliam made money producing. So yeah.
It's if you start comparing them and saying, well, they should all be successful. Again, everyone makes their own decisions. Maybe
Yeah.
Eric Idle made some poor investment decisions. Who knows?
Yeah.
But you can't focus on that. People vilify him and say, "Oh, you're fine with 10 million." You don't know it. You don't know that. He might have a lot of other things that's going on.
Yeah.
I know he just had a health scare a couple of years ago. So,
He did.
again, just focus on yourself, but have a plan so that when you are 80, hopefully in good health, and you're saying, "Do I need to go back to work?" It's not because you need to go to make money. It's because you want to go, because why not? Right? That's the ultimate goal.
Dan, would you like? You can eat just one more mint. It's wafer thin.
Always look on the bright side of
no matter what
life.
happens, Tony, this is what you got to do. Always look on the bright side. I think this
Always
is
look on the light
when
side
Eric
of
Idle's on the
life.
cross.
There you go.
being
If
on the
life
cross
seems
in that
jolly
movie.
rotten,
Oh.
there's something you forgot. And
Not a
that's
big.
to
I
laugh and smile and
don't think the
dance and
Catholics
sing.
are very proud of that
When
moment.
you're
No.
feeling in the dumps,
It was
damn
funny,
me silly
movie.
chumps. Just
And this
purse
song
your
always
lips and
stuck with
whistle.
me.
That's the
And
thing.
that would be the conclusion I would make here.
And always
All right.
look on the bright side of life.
Great show, Tony. Thanks for having fun with me, and we'll catch everyone
Always
next
look
week.
on the
All right.
bright side
We'll do it again.
of life.
Yep.
All matters discussed in today's show are for informational purposes only. This show is not an investment advice. Dan Whittle nor Dolphin Financial Group are affiliated or endorsed by any government agency. Investment advisory services are offered through Dolphin Wealth Management Inc., a registered investment advisor in the state of Florida. Insurance products and services are offered through Dolphin Insurance Inc. Dolphin Wealth Management Inc. and Dolphin Insurance Inc. are affiliated companies doing businesses as Dolphin Financial Group. You should talk to someone at Dolphin Financial Group before implementing any of these strategies or ideas.